Welcome to the Monday, November 20th, regular business board meeting of the Board of School Directors. I will now turn the meeting over to Mr. Copeland. And we'll start with a special presentation, please. But that's still to you, Mr. Copeland.
It is?
Yes.
I thought you were going to do that. Allow me to take a moment to honor one of our directors, as this is her last regular business board meeting as a board member in Lower Merion. Our school directors are passionate about making our schools the very best, and their commitment to quality public education is unsurpassed. Tonight, we want to recognize Dr. Maureen O'Leary, who has devoted countless hours to our district, community, and more importantly, students for the past 4 years. Maureen has taken the time to understand the issues, opportunities, and challenges that we face as a district. She has led our legislative committee, providing the necessary leadership, helping to ensure that our students receive the finest education. For those who attend or watch our meetings, you will, I am sure, agree that Maureen injects not only wisdom, but empathy for students and families. Most recently, she lobbied for and received full board support for changes in our food service policy that preceded state laws on food shaming. On behalf of the entire Lower Merion School District community and the Board of School Directors, I'd like to thank you, Dr. O'Leary, for your contributions and present you with this token of our appreciation. We're grateful for all you've done in putting students first. I just want to add that at one point in the candidacy for the superintendency, the candidates had to do a presentation for the board, and they said, you have 15 minutes. And I didn't take them seriously. But it was Dr. O'Leary, after about 13 minutes, that said, you have 2 minutes left. And I wasn't done, but I don't care. I got the job, so.
Can I just add before you go, Maureen? On behalf of myself and our board colleagues, I want to echo Mr. Copeland's sentiments and thank you for your commitment and dedication to our board. You've consistently supported the board and community by hosting our annual legislative forums that were always informative and often very spirited. I also want to thank you for consistently going the extra mile with your close readings of various board documents and thoughtful and informed questions. And let me close with just a personal thank you for your unwavering support of my leadership as board president. Whenever I'd reach out to you with one more board request or action item, you'd always reply whatever you need. This is music to any board president's ears, I must say. And for this, I'm grateful, and we'll miss your presence and leadership on this side of the table, but we know you'll keep us on our toes. We wish you all the best, Maureen. So please.
So you can see how skillfully these people say you're a pain in the neck, and we've managed to deal with all your crazy questions for 4 years. Being on the board's been a really good experience, and I've had this speech in my head that I've wanted to give for a long time, and I didn't know I was giving it tonight, so it might be a little rougher than I would have liked. But I really wanted to talk about what I've learned being on the board about our schools. The schools, generally what you see about our schools is you see test scores and rankings. And our kids may not be the best standardized test takers in the state. And I am so happy with that, and I'm so happy that's not what we value. The test scores, no student has been excited to come to school to get a really fabulous SAT score or PSSA score. That's not what excites kids. But what we do and what we value and what the school district accomplishes every day are the things that do excite kids. And so other schools may have 1 or 2 areas where they're really good. You know, they're a STEM school, they have great sports. We have everything. We have, you know, if you just look at science, we have TSA, robotics, Science Olympiad, we have the IB program, we have the art show, we have National Latin exam, we have many, many sports. We have chess, we have theater, we have writing, we have reading. anything a kid can want, they can find at Lower Merion. And this is really important because every time you cut out one of those things, you cut out a kid. And Lower Merion values every kid, and I'm just so proud of all the activities that we have and everything that people work so hard to do. And it's tough to measure, but this is a really phenomenal place. Part of what makes it so phenomenal is the administration and the faculty. We have these amazing teachers that you all have experience with, but what you might have not as much experience with the administration. Megan, Scott, Vic is known around the state for being a fabulous business administrator. You go to the PSBA conference and people will talk about, oh, you have Vic Orlando, you're so lucky. It's really just an amazing team. And I'm very, very proud that we were able to convince Bob Copeland to come. We needed somebody to work with a very ambitious strategic plan, and he's done a fabulous job. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about the board members also. What you see here is sort of us all just sitting saying aye or nay and yes or no, and it's not nearly as interactive as it is in the committee meetings. But this is a fabulous board, and there's a lot of different personalities, a lot of different viewpoints on the board, and it's really a lot of work and a lot of reward in gelling all of those into a team. And it's just, it's been a great experience, and I'm really glad Deborah's coming to take on all of this work. I think she'll do a great job. But thank you for a really great 4 years.
Can I just add one thing? So I just want to say, I also see, although I can't see everyone, I see some of your family members. I don't know if you realize that I think I see a few people. I see Alan for sure. So I just want to say also thank you to your family because there's a lot of times that, you're not home or at an event because you're doing something with the school district. So I just want to tell them thank you, and of course to say thank you to you as well, Maureen.
So we have other presentations. Tonight we welcome student leaders from Harridan High School to share with us a wonderful program that facilitates meaningful dialogue between students and parents. The Speak Up program is led by faculty sponsor Ms. Lori Thomas, who's here to kick off the presentation.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having us tonight. My name is Laurie Thomas. For those of you who don't know me, I work at Harridan. I'm a Spanish teacher. I coordinate the Freshman Mentor Program with Lauren Marcuson, and I'm so fortunate to work with students like these four who help to bridge the gaps that we have. In addition to the academic portion, a lot of the things that we like to work on are building character and allowing the students to have a voice and creating opportunities for them to grow as people. And Speak Up is one of the things that we do at Harridan to allow for that. So Scott, our principal, regularly talks about the what, the how, and the why. The why we do Speak Up is to bring the students to have the opportunity to speak with others who are in their breakout sessions, which these four are going to talk about. It gives them the chance to invite the community to join us in our event, and it gives them a chance to bring out a quality of themselves that maybe they didn't realize was there. So I'm going to introduce the four. We have Maddie, Fanny, Amanda, and Anna, and they're going to talk us through the presentation.
Hi, I'm Maddie. I'm a senior at Harridan. I've done Speak Up since I was a freshman. So basically for prepping the entire event, we have 3 to 4 meetings before, and we all meet in the auditorium, and we all split up into different groups, and we discuss what topics we're going to be discussing at the breakout sessions that night. So we basically all split up, and we list different options. So basically, Amanda will get into depth with that kind of stuff, but we all kind of get a voice into what we want to talk about and express, which is really great and speaks to what the event is all about.
Hi, so I'm Fanny. I'm also a senior at Harridan, and I've been in the program for all my 4 years in the in high school. And so basically I'm going to talk about the night of the event. And the night of the event, first of all, every single student leader, so people like us that are in the program, meet and we prepare all the breakout rooms, and it's really fun because we're all together and we get to kind of move the tables around in the rooms, and then we all have dinner together, and it really shows that we're this big community. And then when the event actually starts, there's people that come, and it's crowded with people, and it's really there's this energy, and everyone's kind of excited, and we're all gonna get a share, and there's a little bit of I don't know if I'm a little nervous, but it's if I find it very great because there's so many feelings and emotions, and then you go into the room and you can register before online, or you can register the night of, and then you see all those people in your community, and then in the rooms you get to talk to them about stuff you never thought you would address with them. So the night of the event is really an exciting and powerful night.
Hi, I'm Amanda. I'm also a senior at Harridan. So basically I'm going to be talking about what we do during the breakout sessions. So before we meet a couple times before the actual event, and in those meetings we discuss all the lists that we could talk about, so including sex and relationships, mental health, stress, pressure, drugs and alcohol, which were the 4 topics we chose this year, but a lot of other ones too. And then we all meet together and we pick the top 3 or 4 that we feel are most appropriate to discuss during the actual night of the event. So before the event, in addition, we register on speakup.org and we pick the top 3 that we like the best. And then on the night of the event, the adult facilitators kind of assign us to rooms, and that's where we're going to be that's where we go and we discuss. So this year I was in the drugs and alcohol one, and we discussed, and it was a group of people, about 10 to 12 parents and student facilitators and students, and we just kind of talked about the culture of drugs and alcohol in our schools, and but it happens in all the other breakout sessions too, and we just kind of discussed the ways in which we want to address the different breakout sessions and the different topics. So it's very interesting.
Hi, I'm Anna. I'm also a senior at Harridan. I've been doing Speak Up for 4 years. And I'll talk about when you leave the breakout and how it feels. And I think that everyone leaves with a sense of belonging, and everyone left with getting their voice across and getting perspective on what others think. And so I know when you're in the room, you have a lot to talk about to a bunch of people that know what they're dealing with. And so I think that's very helpful. And you leave the breakout with having someone to talk to, whether it's a parent or another adult. I think that's really important, to always have someone to talk to about certain topics that are hard to talk to about your parent or any adult in your life. So yeah.
So that's really all we had to say. We just wanted to give you the gist of Speak Up. We heard we were supposed to keep it to 5 minutes, so we're hoping we met our goal. Thank you so much for having us. We are glad to come. It's a great event. One of my students said today, she heard me talking about it, and she said, things like we had day of service last week where the entire student body is involved, and she said to me, well, these are the things that make coming to school much more bearable. So that pretty much sums it up. We'll end on that note.
Thank you so much for the presentation. Are there questions or anything?
They're leaving.
Okay. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we will now, okay, I'm going to read a statement before we move to audience recognition on negotiation status of Lower Merion Education Association. So let me take a moment before we begin and speak directly to parents and other members of our community who are here this evening, specifically to learn where things stand with respect to our ongoing negotiations with LMEA. Let me state outright that the resolution of an agreement with LMEA is an important immediate priority for me and the entire LMSD Board of School Directors. We will continue to make every effort to achieve a fair and appropriate contract. I know many of you are here tonight to express support for our teachers and staff. We also support our teachers and staff. In fact, most of my board colleagues currently have students who also attend our schools. Our support for our teachers and staff is in part reflected in their compensation, as they are on average the highest paid teachers in our state. No district in our area comes close to matching the top salaries of our teachers. So yes, we value our teachers, and we are in court fighting for the ability to be able to pay them and continue the programs that make people want to live here and send their children to our schools. Our support staff are also highly compensated, and all LMEA members receive excellent health and retirement benefits. As many of you are aware, we asked LMEA to continue to work under the terms of the current agreement without change, with all terms including salary increases and bonus payments continuing for an additional year. It was our sincere desire to have this school year proceed without any disruption or concerns that can come when there is no labor agreement in place, while we dealt with the issues arising from the litigation and other issues like our significant enrollment growth. This offer has not been accepted, so we're now exploring a multi-year agreement and working with the mediator in order to achieve a successful outcome for both parties. And he's encouraged each group to take whatever time is necessary to ensure that both proposals meet our shared objectives. We've met this month already and scheduled future negotiation meetings in the next couple of weeks. Moreover, no scheduled meetings have been canceled, but rather rescheduled at the advice of the mediator to ensure that meetings are productive and meet all expectations. We absolutely support a collaborative, collegial negotiation process, and will continue to meet with LMEA, and we will keep you informed of the process. Thank you. So I'd like to move now to audience recognition. If you are interested in providing public comment, if you could sign up at this time with Ms. LaPera. There is a 3-minute time limit, and if you could, when you come to the podium, if you could give us your name and, I'm sorry?
On the agenda.
Agenda items, yes, agenda items only. Your name and generally where you reside in the district. Thank you.
Thank you. You ready? Jane Broderson, Penn Valley, on behalf of Save LMSD. Thank you for your service. The voters have spoken. The will of a handful of people filing multiple lawsuits seeking the forcible removal of each and every one of you must not be allowed to substitute for the will of the people. Our right to vote is what sets us apart from a dictatorship. We must stand together to protect that fundamental right. If you care about protecting our strong public schools, currently under attack by not one, but 2 lawsuits now filed by the same attorney, we're asking people to please read the first 2 FAQs on our website, savelmsd.com, and sign our petition there to help prevent the lawsuits against our public schools and against all of you from being certified as class actions. This petition has a very specific legal purpose. Our attorney, who happens to be a class action expert, says that if the plaintiffs succeed in certifying their lawsuits as class actions, they will then carve out a much easier pathway for pulling millions of dollars out of our public schools. We are all in this together, and we must all stand together. The election has not laid this fight to rest. It has only just begun. The time to hang back in the shadows and hope for the best has passed. Please make your voices heard loud and clear by joining our petition. Teachers, you are our most precious assets. How can we ever thank you for the gifts of your time, passion, creativity, and love? Yes, love you have given our children as you have guided them in their often boneheaded journeys toward adulthood. We are here to ask the school board please to offer our teachers a fair contract. Please Radnor, Haverford, and TE have all offered their teachers long-term contracts, and none of these districts are having to cope with exploding enrollment growth as we have. This growth impacts our teachers too, and they are our family. We need top-tier teachers to keep our public schools competitive and our children successful. We want our teachers to feel valued and wanted, and we certainly don't want to lose them to another public or private school willing to recognize their value. Please don't let the lawsuits distract you from the job we have voted and entrusted you to do. Please keep our public schools strong. Save LMSD. Thank you.
Thank you. Elizabeth?
Good evening. My name is Elizabeth Rappaport. I live in in Marion Station. And Jane is really a tough act to follow. I came here also to support the teachers. And I'm glad to hear that since I last came here offering support for the teachers and staff, the members of LMEA, that the discussions have progressed. I'm a little disappointed that you haven't yet reached an agreement with the teachers. I think it's a matter of showing the respect that is due that group of people and that the members of that organization to come as quickly as possible to an agreement so that they can proceed with more certainty and continue to do the excellent job that they're doing for our students. Thank you.
Thank you. Adrian?
Anybody that would like to speak, please come up and sign up. Thank you.
Hello, Adrian Seltzer, Lower Merion. I too support the teachers, but I would like the contract to include some way there's responsibility held for adhering to the strategic plan with all students. There's, from what I understand, the strategic plan, while I've read it and it's absolutely lovely, there's no accountability, that was the word I was looking for, that I see if the teachers do not follow the strategic plan. I know when my kids were in school and they had IEPs, there was no penalty or no nothing if they didn't follow, the teacher didn't follow the IEP. And you would have to go back and forth several times, more than several. So I'm hoping that that is included in the contract because the strategic plan that you guys put together is absolutely fabulous as far as recognizing the strengths and working through the weaknesses of all our students here in the high school or in the school district. Also, we're not doing anything with it'll come to me, with the building and planning part in this board meeting. Is that true?
I'm not clear what you're asking.
Any facilities discussion in this?
We will have a facilities and planning workshop, work session next Monday, the 27th.
All right.
We'll talk generally about, we'll pay bills, and we'll talk generally about what was covered in the facilities meeting, but there's no presentation scheduled.
Okay. The one thing I went back to go watch that again, and the first, in the first 10 minutes or so, there's skippage and there's no showing of the charts. So if you go back, the 16th.
So we'll have technology take a look at that, Ms. Seltzer.
Okay, yeah, that's important to do so people can find out what's going on.
Typically, we don't have those issues, so it may be a buffering thing, but we'll make sure to look into that.
Oh, I did it twice, and I did it on my computer, not my phone. Those things are not easy to find. Also, that would be nice if it was easier for the public to find that on the board docs and stuff.
So everything's under board docs and it's archived based on the date of the meeting, so that's typically the best way to find the information. But we can make sure to follow up with you and walk you through how best to locate it.
I bookmarked it this time, but thank you.
Thank you.
Joe Stern.
Good evening. My name is Joe Stern. My wife Rachel and I moved to Penwyn in 1999 with a toddler. And like most people we met in our new neighborhood, we had chosen Lower Merion specifically for our children's education. Our realtor wanted to show us homes in neighboring towns, but our decision was firm. We were happy to accept a smaller house and a smaller yard for the privilege of living in the Lower Merion School District. And we're almost all the way through that system now. That 1999 toddler's in college, and by 2021, her youngest sibling will be done with high school. And in their many years as education consumers, my kids have received outstanding support from Lower Merion teachers. And I credit those teachers with helping my children achieve all that they've been capable of. And I'm awed by the hours that they give to their craft, both in the classroom and the extra hours, including the phone calls with me and Rachel, the back-to-school nights, the plays and concerts, and the letters of recommendation that are written for all the college applicants who need them. And as a parent of 3 teenagers, I'm even more impressed by their endurance. Every day, some kid somewhere is battling some frustration and taking it out on the adults in his or her life, and it's a hard job, and it's vitally important to my family that good people are doing it. And I know I'm not unique in my review of this district. We have tremendous teachers working very hard, bringing tangible benefits to everyone in the district, whether they send their kids to Lower Merion schools or just see their property values rise for the advantage of living here. These teachers deserve a fair contract. Thank you.
Thank you.
Human Resources? I don't have an update.
I got some right here. No, you're ahead of me.
Okay, sorry.
All right. Okay, so we'll now approve the minutes from the Board of School Directors meetings, October 23rd, regular business board meeting, November 13th, education meeting, and accept the minutes from the following committee meetings, October 25th, legislative, November 6th, curriculum, November 10th, policy, and November 16th, facilities and purchasing. Are there questions? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
There a second? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And now we'll have the superintendent update, Mr. Copeland.
I'm going to go right to Human Resources, if that's all right.
Okay, no problem.
Okay. Administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approves the attached Human Resources actions HR 1 through HR 5.
There questions? Please.
This isn't actually a question, it's more a comment, but on our human resources items today, we're approving the retirement of Jim Morgan, who is our Assistant Director of Operations. And Jim is one of those fellows who's been around longer than me. And when I first got onto the board, he was really helpful in my learning what I needed to know about the facilities. He walked us through new high schools, many renovations, cleaning up the mess of a previous renovation. And no one is a better advocate to our contractors than Jim has been. I was really thrilled to see that the administration is recommending Jim Lill to replace Jim Morgan. Jim Lill has experience in this district and knows what it's about, and I would say that Jim Morgan is incredibly hard to replace, but I think we've done as well as we possibly could by filling him with Jim Lill. So I just wanted to comment on that, and thank you, Maureen, for your service on the board.
Okay, thank you. Are there additional questions or comments? Is there a motion to approve? So. There's second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
I'd like to, as part of the action that the board has taken, welcome Dr. Adil Nurey, who is a current member of our staff as a school psychologist, to his first supervisory position, and I'd like him to stand, be recognized, say a few words of wisdom, perhaps.
I'd like to just say thank you to the board, Mr. Copeland, staff, administrators, families, students. I know this is a big role. It's an important position. and I'm excited by the opportunity, excited to take on all the challenges, and I'm looking forward to lead the clinical staff and the gifted support teachers. I'm just very excited. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We will now have the report of the Curriculum Committee meeting by Dr. Gilbert.
Thank you. The Curriculum Committee of the Board met on November 6th. The Education meeting on November 13th summarized most of the topics of this meeting in detail and is on video if anyone would like more information on these topics, but I'm going to give a brief review. We talked about a proposal related to the strategic plan around the adoption of high school pathways. So this is a proposal to create pathways or themes of courses to help students interested in specific areas, for example, human development or material science. The goal is to help students see the interconnections among courses to bridge content and encourage problem solving. The board asked for clarification around a number of issues and sort of how the classes were likely potentially to be changed to reflect integration. So there was a number of questions and discussion, and we're going to be discussing it again at a future meeting. A second area we discussed related to the strategic plan was research and discussions related to the redefining success pathway. So Mr. Hughes presented on research and recommendations related to grading, class rank, and valedictorian. He reported the results of research on other school districts as well as focus groups with parents and students in our district. The next step is student, parent, and teacher surveys related to grading and valedictorian. In terms of class rank, the recommendation is continue our current practice, which is basically de-emphasizes class rank whenever possible, and we only report it when requested by a post-secondary institution. Again, for more information on this, you can see the November 13th meeting, and we're going to be bringing this back for discussion and recommendations as well. The third topic for discussion was the pilot of the online summer school program. So we piloted offering online summer school courses to increase flexibilities for students and reduce costs. The courses were offered through the Montgomery virtual program of the Montgomery County Intermediary Unit. And it was found that the courses added flexibility for students, which was welcomed by a lot of students and families and which aligns with our strategic plan. The added, it increased the optionality for students who have struggled, who need to do credit recovery courses. The courses were rigorous and time-consuming, and there was progress of students. The progress of students was monitored by an actual person in the district. So there were a number of recommendations, which was to continue the summer options with minor modifications, to add some in-person supports for students in credit recovery, to hold a parent-student information session in the spring that would clarify the amount of hours needed for course completion, and to consider lengthening the window of time for students to complete the course. We received a very brief update as well on the home internet access survey, which is going to come back to us later in the year, so it's in progress. And finally, we discussed a proposed contract with Hanover Research, which is a firm that provides nonprofits with research and evaluation services to support the program evaluation work being done in the district under the leadership of Dr. Paul. So the district has been engaged in program evaluations as well as research related to the strategic plan. We've done gifted education program evaluation we'll be hearing about shortly, and we've started a new program evaluation for academic supports. So this contract's going to allow us to expand our research and evaluation capacities at this time. So the committee recommended to move the contract forward for further review, and I assume we'll hear about that shortly. The next meeting is December 4th at 8:30 a.m.
Thank you, Dr. Gilbert.
Under Educational Services, I'd like to take items B and C in one motion The administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approves the attached overnight trips. And further, the administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approves the attached letter of agreement with Hanover Research in the amount of $39,500 for the period of 12/1/17 to 11/30/18.
Are there questions? Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
There's second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 9, the Student Services. The administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approves the student service items as listed. Agreement for students receiving non-district educational services, SS1 through SS9.
Are there questions? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
There's second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We will now have the report of Facilities and Purchasing Committee meeting by Mr. Driscoll.
Thank you, Dr. V. Lynch. We met this past Thursday in this room, and we began the meeting, as always, reviewing and recommending for approval a list of bills. We then recommended for approval the following district contracts. The first one's with Hanover Research for $39,500. As Dr. Gilbert stated, this will provide additional research support to assist the district in program evaluations. The second contract was with Fox Rothschild at a blended rate of $225 per hour as needed. In addressing student residency issues, the district needs a second firm apart from Whistler Pearlstein to manage and help decide the case. We then reviewed and recommended for approval the following items from the purchasing report. From Superior Sign, we are recommending to rescind the contract that was originally awarded at $65,750. Superior Sign had won the original contract to install signage around Harriton High School, but is unable to execute the contract according to the required specifications, and so the district is rescinding this contract. In parallel to rescinding the contract, we're awarding a new contract to KC Sign and Awning for $51,641.56. This contract is now to award those signs that Superior Sign could not. The contract to KC Sign and Awning was bid through a consortium bidding process. We reviewed and recommended for approval a renewal contract with Presidio Inc. for $78,505.20. This software monitors and remediates approximately 93 system and network devices for potential attacks. If a potential attack is detected, the IT department is notified and corrective action is taken if needed. We reviewed and recommended for approval contracts for Levy School Bus and all city transportation for various rates that depend on the trip. Recently, it has been difficult to get bus service to support some of our athletic teams, so the district is adding additional outside contractors through these contracts to provide bus service to help fill those gaps. We reviewed and recommended for approval a contract with Shepherd Restoration Engineers for a not-to-exceed amount of $48,700. The roof and the upper part of the library at Marion Elementary are getting old and are in need of repair. This contract is to develop the plan and documents to support the repairs over the summer. We reviewed and recommended for approval the following change orders for Welsh Valley Middle School: a decrease of $6,317.40 for the district to install a lightning protection system that was not done as part of the original electrical contracting work. Second change order is for $0 for the general contractor Baver to provide an extended warranty to cover the facade of the new addition. There has been some leaks at this facade and repairs made, and any additional leaks in the future will be covered by this new warranty. After that, we received information updates to the board from Reynolds Construction Administration. With respect to the BC Modules project, the sidewalk work on Amherst Field has continued, including extending the sidewalk to West Amherst Road as requested by the township. Design work for both the Welsh Valley and Ballackinwood Middle Schools cafeterias is ongoing. And we did discuss the stormwater basin at Harriton. Unfortunately, some of the pipes in one of the basins have deformed and failed. A safety fence has been installed to keep if the soil subsists, to create a dangerous situation. We are pretty sure that the base will need to be repaired or replaced over the summer coming up. And we concluded the meeting with the next meeting will be held on December 14th at 8:30 in this room.
Mr. Driscoll, that's a new record. All right, I don't even know what to do with myself. Mr. Orlando.
Under the Business Office and Finance, I'm going to take items B through H in one motion, unless a board member would like me to separate any one. Seeing that there are none, the administration recommends the Board of Directors approve the following action items: approve the list of bills, approve the financial report for October 2017, accept the anonymous donation of $3,000 to the Harriton High School Robotics Club, appoint A. Kyle Berman, Esquire, and Fox Rothschild as a special counsel for student and employee matters at an hourly rate of $225. Approve the transfers in the 2016-17 budget. Approve the transfer from the general fund to the capital reserve pursuant to 53 PS 1432 in the amount of $4,945,533 and declare surplus equipment as surplus property and authorize the disposition thereof.
Are there questions? Please.
I want to bring one thing to people's attention and have a couple questions about another. We've made a slight change to item 10C, which is our financial reports. There's a new piece to the financial report now that has the spending year to date. At this point in time, it's probably not very helpful because, we're only a couple of months into the school year, so it's still new. We're still trying to figure out where we're going, but I just think it's a great addition to the financial reports, and I just wanted to thank the administration for including that. And then item 10G is transfers of funds. It's a substantial amount of money, and I was just wondering, Vic, if you could just quickly go over what we're transferring and what we hope to do with that money.
Sure. That's fine. Yes, so this is funds that we are transferring from the general fund to the capital reserve fund. We do have listed an allocation of around $6 million of capital improvement projects. Harrington High School, artificial turf replacement, basin replacement at Harrington, an auditorium dimmer rack at Harrington also. We have 2 items at Ballacwood Middle School chillers and the retaining wall, which is approximately $2 million. And then we also talked about cafeteria modifications that be made to the expansion of the 2 middle schools. And also we have some IT infrastructure upgrades. And then in addition to that, we also have school bus replacements that we do have an annual replacement program. And those total, $6.5 million, which with this transfer and some funds will leave us with probably somewhere around maybe $500,000 or less in the fund.
And how many buses are we hoping to get?
I believe it's 14
Are
buses.
those CNGs that are?
They're CNGs.
That have kind of lived their useful life?
Yeah, I mean, we've been trying to keep buses for at least a decade, so we're running up to that where they're starting to meet the 10, 12-month years. I know Pat and his staff go through and look at what are the buses that we can keep, and obviously there's ones that start to break down and so forth. So they do an annual review of that. And we'll come to bid on these projects at a later date.
And where we get trade-ins and what have you, where we can.
That's correct.
Yeah, great, thank you.
Additional questions? Is there a motion to approve? There's a second? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Under the facilities and operations, all these items, as Mr. Driscoll reported, were all discussed in the Facilities and Purchasing Committee, so I'm going to take items A through E in one motion. The administration recommends the Board of School Directors approve the following. Rescind the prior award of a contract for the campus wayfinding signage at Harrington from Superior Sign and award that contract now to, I think it was KC Sign and Awning, per the attachment. Approve the agreements for student transportation with All City Transportation, Libby Bus Company. Approved managed services contract renewal with Presidio Inc. for not to exceed amount of $78,505.20. That is subject to the solicitor's review. approve the proposal from Shepherd Restoration Engineers for major roof and partial masonry repairs and restoration at Marion Elementary for not to exceed amount of $48,700, and approve the change orders for the additions and alterations at Walsh Valley Middle School. That is for the general contractor, Gordon H. Baver, and the electrical contractor, Phillips Brothers Electrical Contractors, Inc.
Your questions? Again, all of these were discussed at length at the Facilities and Purchasing Committee meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
There's second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We will now have the report of the Policy Committee meeting by Ms. Robinson.
Thank you. The Policy Committee met on November 10th in this room. For second reading, we have policies 002, 003, 007, and 262. Policy 002 is School Board Organization and Responsibility. This new policy provides clarity of the roles and organization of the board. The policy documents the procedures and roles currently being used, but a new procedure is involved when voting. If there are multiple candidates up for office, a written ballot will be taken and tallied at the meeting. The language in the policy replaces 003 in its entirety, therefore 003 is up for repeal. Some language has been moved to the administrative regulation. Actually, it's board regulation. Policy 003, local board procedures, is up for repeal. Policy 007, board meetings. The Solicitor's Office has recommended an adjustment to language to clarify that when recognizing speakers during public comment, comment is limited to district residents and taxpayers. And policy 262, homeless students. This is a new policy that takes language from policy 200 and offers additional clarity and understanding concerning the district's process regarding homeless students. All language and process is to be in accordance with state and federal law. Up for first reading were the following policies. Policy 605, tax levy, Policy 136, home education, and Policy 809, contracted services. Policy 605, tax levy. The revision in this policy and the AR relate to the district-initiated real estate tax assessment appeals. Specifically, appeals will be initiated without regard to the type of taxpayer, residential versus commercial. Policy 136, home education, had minor changes to this policy for clarity and consistency purposes with policy and AR 125, which covers extracurricular and co-curricular opportunities for students. Policy in AR 809, contracted services. This policy is unchanged. However, the administrative regulation provides for a review cycle for contracts of certain designated professionals that the board engages, such as solicitor, auditor, financial advisor, labor counsel, and banking services. We finally discussed administrative regulation, 256, student fundraising under the auspices of the school district. Language has been added regarding potential conflicts of interest when staff are involved in a fundraiser. At that point, the meeting concluded, and the next meeting will be on December 8th, 2017 in this room. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. The following policies were reviewed for a second reading. Policy 002, School Board Organization and Responsibility. Policy 003, Local Board Procedures for repeal. Policy 007, Board Meetings. And Policy 262, Homeless Students. Are there questions? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
There's second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The following policies were reviewed for a first reading. Policy 605, tax levy. Policy 136, home education. And Policy 809, contracted services. We will now have the report of the Legislative Committee meeting by Dr. O'Leary.
The Legislative Committee met here on October 25th. We started by talking about the question that was on the ballot when you voted. I'm sure everybody went out and voted in earlier this month. The ballot question was a little bit confusing, but it had to do with increasing the homestead exclusion. The result of the vote was that the change did pass, and this is widely viewed as a prelude to property tax reform in the state of Pennsylvania. And so over the next few years, everyone needs to join us in being very vigilant and make sure that any property tax reform is not done at the detriment of public education funding. And that's going to be an ongoing battle. We spent the rest of the meeting talking about the legislative forum that we usually do in the late winter, early spring, where we ask our legislators in to talk in some form to board or parents or somebody. And what we decided to do this year, in keeping with the strategic plan, was to involve the students. And so we're working with the student councils at each of the high schools, who will invite the legislators in to lunch and learn for an afternoon, take them on a tour of the school. They can sit during lunch. And that's about all I know about that event now, but more to follow.
Thank you. And no communications, right? We will now have audience recognition on agenda and non-agenda items. If you would like to provide public comment, please sign in now with Ms. LaPera. There's a 3-minute time limit. Please give us your name and generally where you reside in the district. Thank you.
Hi. Adrian, you can go ahead and start.
Hello, everyone. Adrian Seltzer. As I was reviewing the last board meeting, there was comment that the new demographic studies would be out the beginning of November. I was wondering if they were out yet and available for the rest of us to see. Then I spoke with I was in Dalen Leach's office today, and this is for Dr. Leary, and they said that they're not thinking that there's going to be anything happening with the property taxes anytime soon, because there's just no way to fund the schools without it. Also, that happens to be in the PA Assembly is a bill that will require students to take civics and pass the same test that is given to people who are becoming citizens in the country. And I think that is marvelous, since there's so many people that don't know there's 3 branches of government and so on and so forth. So I guess the only thing I need an answer to is when that new demographic study would be out.
Did you want to answer now, or you want to wait till?
I'll wait till the end.
Okay. Well, okay, we'll do it at the end. That typically what we do, Ms. Seltzer, is we gather the questions and we answer at the end. It's a little bit easier to manage. Thank you.
Mike Salenson, Narworth, Pennsylvania. I wasn't going to speak tonight, but since my son dragged me out anyway, I'm going to wear a different hat than what you usually see me, although some of you know this. I'm on the National Board of the Princeton Prize in Race Relations, which recognizes students who do important work in their communities and to promote race relations, typically high school juniors or seniors. We've had several candidates over the years from Lower Merion who have been finalists for the prize. If they win, they get a $1,000 prize, and they get to go to Princeton with kids from approximately 25 other cities across the country for a weekend up in Princeton. So I'd like to encourage you as board members to think about if there are people in the Lower Merion School District who would fit the qualifications for the award. They have to have a sponsor, which can be a teacher, a member of their community, a church member, etc. But I also know that you have a lot of feelers and colleagues out at other school districts across the city, across the region. So I'm hoping that you'll act as an ambassador for me to help spread the word. We usually get a lot of applications in the Pennsylvania or the Philadelphia region. For whatever reason, I think a lot of kids were involved in politics last year, so our application pool was very low last year, and we actually did not give out an award in the Philadelphia region. So Lower Merion is one of my assigned schools, but I'd also encourage you, if you could, to talk to folks at your, when you're at your meetings at various public school events, meeting colleagues from other school districts. If you can promote it, you can find us on Facebook, you can find the website, and most of you know me, so you can reach out to me too directly and put me in touch with anybody that you think if you hear about a good candidate for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Noah Salmonson, Narberth. I'm here to talk about homework because I have some friends out there. We don't like homework so much. But specifically, I want to talk about the policy. I've read over it. It's something that I keep in my folder at all times because why not? But I wanted to discuss some of the students are what I found. I went out and I talked to students and I interviewed them, and I got around 100 students that I talked to over the past month. And I found that these kids are getting more than what should be, I believe in the admin regulations it states 2 hours for a student taking all CP courses. Now this ranged, and I factored that in, but kids are getting way over that amount, and it's sad to see my friends not come home after a sport or a club and then have 4 hours of homework and then go to bed at 1 a.m., which none of us want, I don't think, because then we don't function properly in the morning. So I wanted to just discuss that because I don't think that you guys were aware of that. I also wanted to discuss vacations, because in the policy it is very vague about homework that can be assigned over vacations. It says specifically Thanksgiving break, spring break, and winter break. The issue with that is that I found teachers in the past have found loopholes with that policy because it's vague by assigning it a day before the break or having some sort of project that they start 2 days before and it's due the day after. And it seems very vague, and I was hoping that at some point we could try to amend that so that we don't have ridiculous homework over a break. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment, Noah.
Sharon.
Okay.
Hi, Sharon Weinstein. I just came up here to ask what time and place of facilities meeting will be on Monday?
I'll announce the meetings at the end. Thank you. Any more speakers? Okay, Mr. Copeland. Oh, that's it. Ms. LaPierre? Okay, please.
In terms of the demographic report, the demographers have finished the first round. We had planned on having them give their presentation actually this coming Monday, but only one of the demographers could make it. We wanted to have both of them at the same time. So the next available meeting, I believe, is December 11th. We're going to have that presentation. We will have, to back up to Ms. Weinstein's, we will have the, and we'll send out a blast tomorrow. The facilities update will be November 27th. That's next Monday, where we'll give a presentation on where we stand with the feasibility study of some of the properties that we've looked at. So that'll go out tomorrow to be secure. And in terms of homework, I think we are taking a look at the homework policy again this year. And so we will take under advisement both adherence to the homework policy and backdoor moves to the homework policy, apparently. Looking at Dr. Eveslage, make sure he takes care of that.
Thank you, Mr. Copeland. No, not from there. And we're done with public comment, correct? Or
Yeah, it's
Mr.
fine. She
Roos,
can come up
just-
afterwards. Then she just ask your question after the meeting online. You don't need to do it. The public comment period's over, but you're welcome to come up to the board afterward to ask a question.
Okay. So we'll now have the report of the Sunshine Act. Mr. Roos?
Thank you. There were executive sessions regarding litigation, specifically the budget litigation, on October 26th and November 9th. There was a November 13th executive session regarding personnel, collective bargaining, and real estate. And there was no executive session before the meeting tonight. There was an information session, but not an executive session.
Thank you, Mr. Roos. Brief report that I was remiss in stating. Mr. Driscoll, could you give us a brief summary of the intergovernmental meeting last week?
Sure. It was November 9th, the intergovernmental meeting. This was between Lower Merion School Board, Board of Commissioners, and Narberth Council, where we try to meet about once a quarter to hash through some issues. The first thing we discussed was the format and structure of the meetings. In general, we haven't had much of a private session, so we're going to introduce a private session where we can talk about issues that are very sensitive before we have the public session. We did discuss Lmsb enrollment growth. We discussed the strategic plan and the importance of that to providing the high-level public education in this district. School board members also gave an overview of this year's 10-day enrollment numbers, where we've increased enrollment about 200 students from year over year, and we are at approximately 1,500 students larger today than we were 10 years ago. We discussed the publication of the needs assessment document in September, October, and how that was being used to assist the school district in developing plans to address enrollment growth. Finally, we did discuss that the new demographic reports weren't quite ready, but as we just heard, they'll be ready about December 11th. We received zoning code updates. Narberth went first and described how it adopted a form-based zoning code over a use-based zoning code, I think approximately 18 months ago. Narberth was the first local government PA to adopt such a zoning code, and there was some initial trepidation to such a change. Since then, however, Narberth reported other local governments in Pennsylvania followed suit and adopted form-based zoning. The township is in the midst of rewriting its zoning code. It has had several workshops to receive input and provide updates as to the status of the rewrite. The township is steadfast in keeping with its timeline for publishing, receiving comment, and then adopting a final code. We then discussed volunteer fire departments. Narberth, Lower Merion, and almost all volunteer fire departments across the nation have seen a decrease in the number of volunteers. One issue is the relatively new transiency in the younger generations. And that is, they see that they become junior firefighters, some teenagers. They go away to college and either lose interest in maintaining their volunteer status or move to a different state or region. Another problem is false alarms. Approximately 50% of all alarms are false. This causes the volunteers to get ready, rush to the scene to only discover nothing is wrong. This is very demoralizing to the volunteers. The township has issued fines for false alarms, but the rate at which they occur is still too high. We then briefly discussed police and community relations through Lower Merion School District. Police officers have had some engagements in our schools. They've been very well received by the students, police officers, and the school administrators. There was discussion on how to expand this program and get more officers into more schools into the future. Finally, we did receive some public comment. Some of it was on enrollment growth. In particular, we had questions directed towards equalizing enrollments across the 6 elementary schools, as well as equalizing the zoning codes across all public schools. There were also some comments regarding Penwyn in particular and possible other sites, such as 1860 Montgomery Avenue. There was also a lot of discussion regarding the police-community relationship and how the parents in attendance had positive things to say about it. We adjourned the meeting about 9 o'clock. We have not scheduled the next meeting, but we are tentatively looking at January, February 2018. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Driscoll. Upcoming meeting dates: Monday, December 4th, reorganization meeting of the Board of School Directors. Monday, December 18th, regular business board meeting. Committee meeting dates: Monday, November 27th, special meeting of the board, facilities work session, 7 p.m. Monday, December 4th, curriculum committee meeting, 8:30 a.m. Friday, December 8th, policy committee meeting, 8:30 a.m. Thursday, December 14th, facilities and purchasing, 8:30 a.m. Monday, December 11th, special meeting of the board, enrollment update. That's when the demographer reports will be shared with the public. Monday, December 11th, that will be at 7 p.m. And Wednesday, December 20th, communications committee meeting, 7 p.m. Before we adjourn, happy Thanksgiving to all. Enjoy your time with your families and have a safe holiday. With that, we're adjourned.